So the iPhone SE and some other budget-focused phones that were released this year and the previous years got me thinking, like, what are the most important features that a budget phone needs to have? Things that manufacturers should pay attention to when making these budget phones. Like, we've all seen these phones and how some manufacturers tend to focus on things like cameras, things like battery, screen, etc. So, what are the things that manufacturers should not compromise while trying to make their phones stand out or be good at one aspect? Things that manufacturers can should simply not compromise. So before we answer all those questions, story time. In 2018, the Poco phone F1 was launched, and it was one of the most talked about phone that year. It had a good battery, a good screen, a good amount of RAM, and the selling point, the main feature, the Snapdragon 865. And the main compromise was the camera and the software skin or the UI. It wasn't stock Android, and the image qualities were not good. But with a Gcam mod, you could improve your image to a certain degree, but that also means that you're using a modded app, and if you don't mind, that's okay. So the biggest compromise was the UI, which could not be changed except if you are going to root the phone or something, but that was it. And it's pretty impressive that it was only little things like that were the biggest compromises. Like, the other aspects of the phone were not the best, but they were also not the worst. And if you consider the price point, it was kind of a fair trade. So the Poco was a good phone. Story time is over. Back to 2020. The dream budget phone would have to have a decent camera, a good battery, a good screen, specs that aren't the worst, and a decent hardware. So picture this. A Snapdragon 865 processor, no additional 5G modems needed, 8 gigs of RAM or even 6, but 8 would be the sweet spot, 128 gigs of internal memory. Then for the cameras, maybe a 16 megapixel wide, 12 megapixel ultra wide, and a 16 megapixel telephoto. Just the three that I think most people would agree on that are the primary cameras in 2020, the lenses that the sensors that people need. Not only the numbers, but the image processing has to be good, because the camera is an important part of a phone, and if a phone doesn't deliver good photos and videos, it's just a pass for most smartphone users. So if the camera is good, then that's a good sign. Next up, the screen. So the theme of 2020 is high refresh rate. Like, every single manufacturer is moving away from their normal 60 Hz. Some are going up to 144, but our dream budget phone is going with 90. And yes, it has to be an OLED panel, at least 1080p. So the screen size should be some like 5.8 inches or something a bit bigger, but definitely not smaller. So if you noticed earlier, I didn't make mention of any front camera as well. I saved it for now because there's something that I need to say and it would sound a bit bizarre in 2020. So just listen to this. Galaxy S8, Galaxy Note 9, Galaxy S9, Galaxy Note 8, Pixel 4, the new Xperia. What do they all have in common? Oh, and even the Red Magic 5G. Well, they all have foreheads, and believe it or not, it's cheap, and I think it would be good with our dream budget phone for these reasons. So reason number one would like 2 sensors in the front, 2 camera sensors. We don't want a notch and a teardrop notch or whatever they call it. That would be kind of expensive to make. So let's just go with what manufacturers are used to, to save money. And then we want a good earpiece up top and maybe a second speaker. But if that's not made available, a good earpiece would be appreciated, and if possible, secured face unlock sensors like those on the Pixel 4. But we don't need any solar radar things because we're good with using our phone screen. So yeah, a secured face unlock, that would be very, very cool on a budget phone. So yeah, that's all for the front. And for the back, it should be glass with a matte finish. Would like aluminum rails on the side. We don't need an in-display fingerprint sensor since, I don't know, we're dreaming for the secured face unlock. But if that doesn't get delivered, I think a fingerprint sensor merged with the power button would be very convenient. I think it would be the best implementation. So for the other things, the extras, a headphone jack, because it's a budget phone and we're dreaming, and yeah, an alert slider and USB type C obviously, and no need for wireless charging because it's a budget phone. So the battery should be something like 4500 milliamperes. I think that would be good, and it should offer some degree of fast charging, maybe 18 watts or 20. Either would be accepted. Then for the software, obviously it has to be Android, stock Android. So the default Google messaging apps and photos apps should be kept. No need for any bloatware. It's kind of funny how some manufacturers tend to spend their time and money to create something that Google is already crushing. Like, just go with stock Android. So our dream budget phone is going with stock Android. So to wrap this all up, I know I've been saying dream budget phone all through, but the specs and calling out sound like a mid-range phone. Well, yeah, but it's a super budget phone. Why I am sticking with budget phone? Because we know mid-range phone price points are kind of high. So our budget for this phone is $500 or $499. I think that's high-end budget phone category, and I think that's a fair price for the specs and everything. So this is it. This is my 2020 dream budget phone. I'm sorry I don't have any renders to show, but if you have any concepts, you could send them through my email or Instagram or Twitter. They will all be linked down in the description. Plus, let me know what you think about this concept, what you think about the other phones in the video, especially the iPhone SE. Let me know down in the comments below. If you have any ideas or any opinion on, or your own idea of the dream budget smartphone, you should let me know in the comments below, or through my email or Instagram or Twitter. Just hit me up, I dare you. So smash like on this video and subscribe if you haven't already. Share the video and we'll meet up next one. Peace. Subscribe, don't click away before subscribing.